How to improve your social skills. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 things that will help you to improve your social skills. And why is it important to have social skills? The reason it's so important to have social skills is because on a daily basis, we work with people. We have to communicate with people in our job, in our lives, in our families. We, on a regular basis, we have to communicate with people. So it's extremely important to up your social skills. And it's extremely important to always grow in this area. So I'm going to give you 5 things to help you to improve your social skills. Number 1, recognize rational and irrational beliefs. Albert Ellis, who wrote the Rational Emotional Behavioral Therapy, said the following. He said, emotionally healthy people have a rational belief system and unhealthy people have a non-rational belief system. So what is a rational belief system? What is a non-rational belief system? Well, basically it says a rational belief system is the expectation that you have of yourself and the expectation that you have of other people is rational. If you think every relationship is always going to be at a good place. In every relationship, you're just going to agree on everything. This person is always going to treat you well. This person is always going to be reliable. That's an irrational belief system. So many people have this idea that, if I'm working with somebody, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, if I'm friends with somebody, they're always going to treat me in this great, amazing way. And you put irrational expectations on that person. And if that person doesn't always, do what you expect them to do, you get angry, you give them the silent treatment, you go into gossip because of irrational beliefs. So when it comes to trust, I want to encourage you to trust the person's heart and not just always look at the person's actions, because intention is a very important thing, not just action. No matter who you are in a relationship with, no matter who you are working with, whether it's workplace, whether it's life, people are going to disappoint you. You are going to disappoint people. Why? Because we are human beings. A rational belief system says, in general, I'm going to trust you. In general, I'm going to believe in you. In general, yes, I do want you to be nice with me and I do want us to work well together, but I also leave gaps for mistake. I also leave that gap to say, listen, I know you're not always going to be in a good mood. I know life happens. I know sometimes you're going to let me down, and that is okay. So go look at what are irrational belief systems, what are irrational expectations that you put on people and that you put on yourself, and go see, listen, what are more rational ways to handle this? That's the first thing. Number 2, improve your communication skills. We were in a emotional intelligence workshop recently that I do a lot because I teach on emotional intelligence. And this is what was said. You always have to know what the person means, not just what the person says, because we interpret what people say or what people mean through our filter. So a great way to communicate with people is if they say something to you, if you think there's any chance that you could misunderstand them, repeat it to them. Say, do I understand you correctly? Is this what you meant? Then repeat what they said, not in their words, but in your words and in your understanding. So that's one thing that's very important about communication. Make sure you interpret what they say correctly and you don't just listen to what they say. Because they have a certain filter, you have a certain filter. They have a certain belief system, you have a certain belief system. And sometimes we can hear the exact same thing, but we interpret it differently. Another thing that's also important is to listen what the person has to say. Now, this is sometimes difficult for me because I'm a talker, especially when somebody pauses. I've realized that in my own life. If somebody is busy saying something and they're pausing for a long time, I think they are done, because why are you pausing? I'm not very great at pausing, so I have to learn, to pause before I say the next thing. But a lot of times in communication, when somebody else pauses, I just assume they're done. And the reason that I can assume they're done is because I have something to say. So a very important thing in communication, listen to what the person has to say. Wait for them to finish. Ask them if you understood them correctly. Now, I'm not saying you have to ask them if you understood them correctly after every single sentence. But if there's any doubt, ask them, do I understand you correctly? Is this what you're trying to say? And then you can respond. Number 3, recognize appropriate and inappropriate emotional reactions. If you react emotionally, there are so many emotions that are, inappropriate for the situation, for that time being. Your emotion can maybe override the situation. You cannot get that angry at that thing. You cannot get that offended at the situation. So you must ask yourself, do I tend to react too emotional to a certain situation? Or you can say, do I maybe not react emotionally enough? That is also a thing. And I know it's very difficult just to go and say, what is always the emotional appropriate reaction? And again, to get back to that place about the balance between the neocortex and the limbic system. I have to feel, I have to think, I have to balance my feeling and my thinking. Otherwise, I'm either going to react too emotional to a situation, or I'm not going to react emotional enough. Two things that can be very upsetting, and especially especially for me, like if I speak to somebody and their emotional reaction is too big, you almost get that feeling of you cannot speak to this person. But one thing that can also be very upsetting is if you speak to somebody and it's kind of like they have no reaction whatsoever. I've encountered people like that. You tell them something, you say something, and I would say to the person, just react. I wanna know how you take what I've just said to you. You know, smile, nod your head, frown, do something so that I can just have an idea of what's going on. So it's very important to react emotional, but it's also very important not to overreact in an emotional way. So if you like this video, if this means something to you, remember to share it to people, to like, to subscribe, and also remember I do sessions, individual sessions and sessions on emotional intelligence and mental wealth in the workplace. So if you want to do some sessions with me, my email address will be on the screen. And we also have 2 books available, Emotional Intelligence in the Workplace and The Influence of Mindset in the Workplace, that I also do in businesses and on social media platforms such as Zoom. Okay, number 4, self-confidence in self-awareness. What is self-confidence? Self-confidence is not saying I'm perfect. It's not saying, you know, I have everything figured out, but I have a measure of confidence in myself. I have a measure of confidence in the person who I am, and I have a measure of confidence in my ability to grow. So what is self-awareness? Self-awareness is just to get back to that place that says, I'm aware of where I am in life. I'm aware of what's going on within me emotionally. I'm aware of what's going on within me in my thought life and my thinking life. I'm aware of what I'm good at. I'm aware of the areas that I can grow. This is basically self-confidence in self-awareness. To have self-confidence in your own self-awareness. And if you're at a place where you say, listen, I don't have confidence in my own self-awareness, learn self-awareness, study on self-awareness. A lot of our videos, we speak on self-awareness, to be aware of what's going on within you. So many times in relationships and many times in social skills, if a person is not self-aware, if a person is not self-confident, you will always project this on other people. And you're going to rely on other people to make you feel better about yourself. You are going to rely on other people to be confident in you because you're not confident in yourself. And you know, every single time somebody else makes a statement or when people tell you something, you get extremely upset because you're not aware of what's going on the inside. Carl Jung said the following: the notions of oneself is the basis for all human endeavors and interaction. And what he's basically saying, if you don't know what's going on within you, if you don't know your own gifts, your own personalities, your own fears, your own emotions, it's going to be very difficult to interact with other people, because how are you going to learn to know others or get to know others when you don't know you? So it's very important, get to know yourself. I know this sounds like a very strange statement, but get to know yourself, get to know what upsets you, get to know what energizes you, get to know what makes you happy, and then ask yourself the question, why is this making me happy? Why is this upsetting me? Are my responses appropriate? Are there some areas that I have to deal with? Are there some things that I have to grow in? And give yourself space, give yourself time to grow in this area, because it's a lifelong journey. Number 5, have empathy. And when I say have empathy, I'm saying have empathy with you and have empathy with others. So what is empathy? As soon as I say the word empathy, people think, you know, feel sorry for people that's going through something bad. That's not empathy. Empathy is to feel as the other person. One of my leaders, one of my mentors, Dr. Obaz Uester, says it's like almost putting yourself in that person's skin, having those emotions as if you are that person. And that's not just when things are going bad, that's when things are going well as well. Meaning, empathy means when somebody else is happy, I'm happy with them, or I'm happy as them. When something goes bad with the other person, I feel bad with them to a point where I'm going to help them. And I think it's very important to have empathy with yourself. When I feel good about something, it's okay to feel good. If I feel bad about something, it's okay to feel bad. I have to give myself that gap to have empathy with myself. And I think one of the things that causes a lot of strain in social skills and a lot of strain in social relationships is people who don't have empathy. With empathy, 2 things are very important. You have to develop a healthy curiosity about others. Now, what is a healthy curiosity? I want to get to know you. I want to learn more about you because I want to have empathy with you. I want to have a social relationship with you. I want to get to know you better. An unhealthy curiosity about others is I want to get to know you better because I want to gossip about you. I want to get to know you better because I want to bring you down. I want to get to know what you are doing because I want to do something bad about you. That's an unhealthy curiosity about others. We have to have a healthy curiosity about others. That's the first thing. The other thing that's very important when you want to build empathy is know what you are biased about. We are all biased about something. And if you are biased from the beginning towards a certain gender, towards a certain race, towards a certain religion, if you are biased about that, you have to go identify it. You have to work on it, because it can then get to a place where you are empathetic towards a certain group of people and you are not empathetic against a different group of people. And that will cause you to have less quality social skills or not as quality social skills with that specific group of people or that specific person. Know what you are biased about and learn how to deal with it. In a study on how to be more empathetic, they said we all have biases and they impact our capacity for empathy. Often without knowing, we judge others on the way they look and on the way they live. Knowing what you are biased about is also a big part, I believe, of self-awareness, and this is why self-awareness is so important. Know what's going on within me so that I can relate to others better. Thank you so much for watching this video. I do believe this video is going to help you to increase and to up your social skills. From Mind Prosperity, we love you and we will see you soon again. Goodbye.